Good morning everyone. Myself Kausar Momin, 9th standard, subject Science, chapter number 2, Work and Energy. In the last lecture we studied part of work, energy. Today we are going to discuss about law of conservation of energy. Today's our topic is law of conservation of energy. The definition for the same is energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be converted from one form into another. Thus, the total amount of energy in the universe remains constant. That means any kind of energy is not destroyed. We cannot create any kind of energy or we cannot destroy it. It can convert from one form to another. So that means we can say the total amount of energy in the universe remains constant. We are having an example for the same. To understand it is very clearly we can understand through the example, but this kind of example will not be there in your exam. This is going to get cancelled as per 25% reduced syllabus, but to understand this concept we just go ahead with this one. This will not come in your exam. Okay, to understand this concept we are going to study this one. So here we are considering two pendulums at the same length with the help of thread, two nuts, tie another thread in the horizontal position. In this way we have done this arrangement. We have two nuts, this is the part of thread and this is the other thread. So tie the two pendulums to the horizontal thread in such a way that they will not hit each other while swinging. Now swing one of the pendulum and observe. What do you see? So here you are going to see that the speed of oscillation of pendulum slowly decreases. Obviously you can perform this kind of activity at your home also. When you consider two nuts with the help of thread, if you will swing one nuts and when it is starting with the swinging, at that time the other nut automatically little bit swing. So we can say over here the first thread's energy is transferred to the another thread. The second pendulum, which was initially stationary, being to swing. Thus one pendulum transferred its energy to the other. So with the help of this example we can say that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can be converted from one form into the another. So in the universe whatever total amount of energy is constant. This is very important definition for law of conservation of energy. So we are having an experiment for the same that I'll show you the video of the same. Next topic is free fall. If we release an object from a height, it gets pulled towards the earth because of gravitational force. As we know, whichever object you consider in your hand, and if you will release from your hand, definitely it will fall down due to gravitational force. So the same thing we are considering over here. An object falling slowly under the influence of gravitational force is said to be an free fall. Definition for free fall is an object falling slowly under influence of gravitational force said to be free fall, or we can say to be falling freely. That means whichever object you will consider, if that is due to gravitational force, it is going to be down, and that means we can say it as falling freely. Let us look at the kinetic and potential energies of an object of mass m falling freely from height h when the object is at different heights. Now here we have to consider one object which has mass m. Whenever obviously due to gravitational or it has some height, so that is why we are considering over here h as height. And definitely it has a stationary moment as well as kinetic moment. Kinetic energy is there, so that is why here we are considering kinetic and potential energy of that object. So here is the diagram for the same. We will consider with the diagram, and as per that we discussed the things. So here, as shown in the figure, you can observe here the figure is over here. This one is the figure. At the point of A, the object is there. As shown in figure, the point A is height h from the ground. Let point B at a distance x vertically below. Let point C be the ground directly below A and B. Let us calculate energies of object A, B and C. These objects are not different, but we are considering the same object's position with three positions. One is at A, one is at B and one is towards the ground, to the ground. So h is height from ground to the level of the object which is at height. So B is the middle position of that object and C is the position of to the ground. So here point number 1, you can observe here, when the object is stationary at point A, its initial velocity is u. Obviously consider object you are considering in your hand. So that means obviously it is stationary. Suppose you are considering your object in your hand, and obviously if you are considering over here that object in your, suppose ball is there, you are considering that ball, you are holding that ball in your hand. So that means it has not any kind of motion whenever you are not moving it from your hand. So that means it is stationary. If it is stationary, that means it is having an initial velocity that is 0. So here we are considering its initial velocity is 0. Hence this kinetic energy will be, as we know, the formula for kinetic energy is half mass into velocity square. Half mass mv square. V means initial, so here we are considering as, instead of v, u square, because initial velocity is 0. Hence we can say over here kinetic energy is 0, but at that time its potential energy is mgh. Why? Because that object, means you can consider, which you have considered as a ball, that ball has some mass, and because of it is having some height, you are considering with a specific height, that means it has a height which is h, and obviously it has height, that means the acceleration due to gravity will come. So potential energy is mgh. So hence we can find out at the position A, its total energy will be kinetic energy plus potential energy. Kinetic energy which we have solved is 0 and potential energy is mgh. Hence its total energy is mgh, which is having total energy at the point A. Here when the object is stationary at point A, its initial velocity is 0. So that means we are getting with the solution total energy as mgh. Formula for total energy is kinetic energy plus potential energy. After getting the calculation, we are getting total energy as mgh for point A. For the point 2, let the velocity of the object at VB, means at the point B, means somewhere it is falling down, it is going to get starting fall down, and we are taking at middle point at B. So we have to find that. So definitely its velocity is VB. When it reaches at point B, having fallen through a distance x, obviously it has a distance x, we cannot say as height h, it is completing some distance, we don't know that distance, we are just considering this distance at point B. So we have to find the same, its total energy. So having fallen through a distance x, if its initial velocity is 0, and it has some distance, that is x, and acceleration due to gravity is g. So based on this we are having a formula, that is v square is equals to u square plus 2as. So v is vb, which we have taken velocity. We don't know that velocity, so that is why we are taking over here vb. So vb square u is initial velocity, which is 0, and instead of a we are substituting over here g, because due to gravity, and s distance is x we are getting over here. So vb square is equals to 2gx. Now we can find out over here kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy is, we know, half mv square, but here we are taking instead of v, vb. Half mvb square. Vb is this vb, half mv square. Why we are taking vb over here? Because we have taken position of at vb, position at b. So hence here velocity is vb. So that is why to find kinetic energy we have taken vb, which is position at b. What we are finding over here? Total energy at point B. Okay, so that is why its velocity we have taken as vb. Now vb we are getting as 2gx due to this formula we got. So we can substitute this vb in this formula, and we are getting over here half m into 2gx. Instead of this vb square we are substituting 2gx. That is why instead of this we are getting as half m into 2 into gx. This 2 and this 2 get cancelled. So we are getting kinetic energy as mgx. So height of the object at point B is h minus x. Why h minus x? You can observe here, this total height is h, this much distance is x, this remaining height will be definitely h minus x. So that is why we are taking height as point B is h minus x. So potential energy for the same mg into h, but height is h minus x. So that is why we can open this bracket, mgh minus mgx. This is potential energy. Now total energy, formula for total energy is potential energy plus kinetic energy. This is the formula for total energy. So what we are getting? Potential energy and kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is mgx, here kinetic energy, and potential energy is mgh minus mgx, which we are substituting over here. Now plus mgx and minus mgx get cancelled. So what is the remaining part? mgh. So hence total energy is mgh. This total energy is at point B. Now we have to find total energy at point C. So let the velocity of the object be vc, because we are taking at point C, hence its velocity is vc. When it reaches to the ground at near point C, so definitely its initial velocity is 0. Distance is h, because overall distance we are taking, and acceleration due to gravity is g. So what we have to find here? vc we have to find. Again we are taking formula, v square plus is equals to u square plus 2as. v is vc square, u is 0, and 2, a is g, and s is h. So it is 2gh. Now we are having formula for kinetic energy, that is half mv square. Instead of v we are taking vc square. Now vc is 2gh. So instead of this vc square we can substitute 2gs. Then half m into 2gs. This 2 get cancelled. Then what is the remaining part? That is mgh. So kinetic energy is mgh. The height of the object from the ground at C is 0. Obviously there is no height. If it is at ground place, then there is no height and it is 0. So potential energy, we can substitute the formula potential energy, that is mgh. Because of height is 0, then overall answer will be 0. Then potential energy is 0. So we can find out here total energy as kinetic energy plus potential energy. So kinetic energy is mgh and potential energy is 0. So the addition of them you are getting mgh. Hence total energy is mgh. So we can say from equation number 1, 2, 3, overall we are getting kinetic energy, total energy we are getting mgh itself. Total energy in number 1 mgh, total energy in number 2 mgh, and total energy at point C, which is number 3, mgh itself. So we can say from equation 1, 2, 3 we see that total energy of the object is the same at 3 points A, B, C. Thus every object has potential energy when it is at height above the ground and keeps getting converted to kinetic energy as the object falls towards the ground. On the reaching the ground point C, all the potential energy gets converted to kinetic energy. But at any point during the fall, the total energy remains constant. During the fall, whatever total energy is there, that is constant. Due to the expression we have seen, total energy at every point we are getting mgh. So that's why we can say total energy at every point remains constant, and whatever the potential energy, that is going to get converted into kinetic energy. So that is, we can say total energy is equals to potential energy plus kinetic energy, and whatever three conditions we have seen, that point A we are getting total energy as mgh, point B we are getting total energy as mgh, point C we are getting total energy as mgh. So hence we can say it is constant due to fall. Which one is constant? Total energy is constant. And what is the conversion energy? Conversion energy is potential energy into the kinetic energy. Next topic is power. Think before you answer. Can your father climb stairs as fast you can? Obviously no, because father will take much more time to climb the stairs, but we can climb stairs very fast because we have a little bit more energy as compared to father. Second example, will you fill the overhead water tank with the help of a bucket or an electric motor? Obviously yes, but here also time consumes different. If you will fill that water tank with the help of electric motor, then it will fill earlier as compared to bucket. With the help of bucket we need lot of time. Next example, suppose Rajeshri, Yash and Ranjit have to reach the top of a small hill. Rajeshri went by car, Yash went by cycling, Ranjit went by walking. They are having same path, but Yash, who will reach first and who will reach last? Obviously whoever is going by car, that person will reach earlier as compared to walking. So in the above examples the work done is the same in which example, but the time taken to perform the work is different for each person or each method. Obviously if you consider car, cycle or walking, so that time is definitely different and the method is also different. But with the all examples work is done, like some work is happening over there. The fast or slow rate of the work done is expressed in terms of power. The fast or slow work done is expressed in terms of power. Means we can define power is the rate at which work done. Rate means something time is there. Power is the rate at which work is done. So hence we can define, if W is the amount of work done, then and time T, so power will be work upon time, because power is expressed at the rate at which work is done. So whatever work is happening over there with respect to time, that is called as power. So hence we can write power as work upon time. P is represent for power, W is represent for work, and T is for time. Hence P is equals to W upon T. P is the power, W is the work done, and T is time. In SI system, the unit of work is joule. So the unit of power is joule per second, and this is called watt. 1 watt is equals to 1 joule upon 1 second. That means 1 joule work done is happening within 1 second. That means 1 watt power is there. In the industrial sector, the unit used to measure power is called horsepower. 1 horsepower is equals to 746 watt. The unit of energy for commercial use in kilowatt hour means 1000 joule work performed in 1 second is 1 kilowatt power. So we can represent this 1 kilowatt is equals to 1 kilowatt into 1 hour means 1000 watt. 1 hour means 3600 seconds. If you multiply this, then 1 kilowatt is equals to 1 kilowatt hour is equals to 360000 means 36 lakh joule. So if you are a conversion of the same, so you can convert the thing. 1 kilowatt hour is equals to 3.6 into 10 raised to the power of 6 joule. This is the conversion for 1 kilowatt hour to joule. So electricity used, if you will observe your bill, electricity bill, then over there this conversion and overall thing has written. Electricity used for domestic purpose is measured in units of kilowatt 1 hour. So 1 kilowatt hour is equals to 1 unit. So we are saying that this much is unit used and this much is bill is there. So 1 unit means 1 kilowatt hour. This introduction scientists no need to study. Please cancel it out from textbook with the help of pencil. We will stop our lecture over here. The remaining things we'll discuss in next lecture. Today's homework is the definition for law of conservation of energy, this much only. Next is for free fall. For free fall you have to write each and everything which is given part, this diagram and all, number 1, number 2, all these things. You have to find point A, point B, point C, and you have to say at the last point, that is total energy is same for every point, and it can convert it to potential energy to kinetic energy, and it is constant for overall way. Next is definition for power. So you have to write power is the rate at which work is done from here to this much you have to write. Okay, this is the conversion part for the same. Whenever the electricity and all whatever used are there, you have to write overall things. Thank you.